Hey everybody, I'm Jim Van Dyke here with Al Pasquale, and we've created the only all-new category of fintech you'll see here at Finovate today, with a solution that fits in literally every single retail financial services institution, fintech, and consumer. We formerly ran Javelin Strategy and Research and went on to prove Breach Clarity's methodologies as legal sector expert witnesses in massive data breaches like Equifax, Marriott, and Yahoo. Did you know that data breaches created $39 billion in losses at retail financial services institutions? And that's just the US alone last year. And annual spend on consumer products like LifeLock is $4 billion, removing any question about whether or not consumers are motivated to take action. We're doing something completely different to stop everyone's headaches, costs, and create better digital engagement through the digital retail banking platform. Al's going to take you through the first example and how we show you how Breach Clarity detects a data breach on the dark web affecting your customers' personal information, which criminals use to commit identity fraud or raise friction at the bank in order to provide a more frequent and proactive risk update, all in a way that builds digital confidence. Al, can you take us through that?
Absolutely. So we are going to check out this notification from Breach Clarity that's letting me know that my information has been spotted on the deep and dark web. It looks like I was affected by the breach of the California DMV, and I'm going to jump over into digital banking at my provider, Grower Financial, to figure out exactly what's happened with my identity, along with the things that I can do to stay safe. So I'm going to log in. And once I log in, I'm going to go through the experience. You're going to notice that the experience around these dark web notifications is notably different than what you'll see in other solutions, not the least of which because we're building this capability and this experience directly into digital banking. But once I log in, I'm going to see the Breach Clarity widget here on the right, and there's my one new identity exposure. That's that California DMV breach. I'm going to click through into the dashboard. We'll talk more about some of this other stuff here in just a moment. But I'm going to go down and look. There's my data breach. It's new, California DMV. Let's pull it up and see what we see. Now, as opposed to how most consumers are receiving information on these dark web breaches, we are completely flipping the script. So it's just not a massive dump of text that leaves that user confused. Instead, what we want to do is drive action. And so we start by providing that user with the Breach Clarity score. This is the only consumer-oriented score around data breaches. So think of it like the Richter scale for data breaches. It's my way of knowing at a glance just how meaningful that breach is for me. It gets my attention. Now, once it has my attention, I want to know what it means. And so Breach Clarity in real time is identifying the risks that this data breach is causing for my identity. I can dive in, learn more. If there's language that the bank or credit union likes to use around these different risks, maybe information in their security center, we can bring that all directly into the platform. But the goal is really to drive them to action. So we are calculating, again, based on what we know about the breach, what the risks are, and then subsequently what they need to do. And so we're going to give them a very specific prescription, including things that they can do outside of the banking relationship, as well as things internally. We'll dive a little bit more into that here in just a second.
Thanks, Al. You already saw a lot of differentiators there, but let's take you through another one. Everybody's received one of these, a data breach notification letter. What do you do with it? You throw them straight into the trash. That's what your customer does too. Oftentimes, they'll first call the bank's call center, costing you money and not giving them any useful information. Al is going to take us through how we go beyond the information in these letters that simply confuse people and frustrate them. We show them what specific ID fraud risks were raised out of 12 in our comprehensive model and what action steps out of 51 possible best protect them and their FI. And this is through data that goes far beyond the dark web. And we've got the only exclusive access to that database. Al?
Thanks, Jim. So let's say I have a question about a data breach. So what we do know from our own research is that about half of all consumers have contacted their bank or credit union about a breach in the past. Doesn't mean they contact them about half the breaches, but on occasion, when a breach does affect things like financial related information, consumers look to their financial service provider for answers. So rather than picking up the phone and contacting the call center, I'm going to type in the name of the breach. And it could be any publicly reported breach, but I'm going to type in the name of one that's affected me, the Small Business Administration, right? A timely example. And so in this case, I'm going to get that same kind of information that you saw when it came to the California DMV. You're going to see that breach clarity score on a scale of 1 to 10. This one happens to be a 4, so a little bit less impactful. You're going to see, again, those risks, and those risks are specific to the breach. It can include things like targeted scams as well. Again, a really timely threat vector affecting a lot of your members and customers. But most importantly, we're going to show those action steps for this breach event. And you'll notice that a couple of them have that bank logo. And what that's telling us is that these are actions I can take at the institution. 65% of the time, Breach Clarity is going to recommend that the user take action at their financial institution. And in fact, for some of the digital banking platforms we're building out this capability for today, we are literally putting that toggle right there next to the action step. So I'm going from a question about a breach or even a breach notification in the last example to instant answers as to what it means for my identity. And then I have that tool, right? That answer, that fix right at my fingertips. And that's going to meaningfully drive adoption of security controls within your environment.
Thanks, Al. In summary, Breach Clarity is customer-facing and personalized identity health, all for the first time and all inside retail digital banking for stronger acquisition, engagement, protection against losses and service costs, and improved loyalty. Our demand prediction research of 1,000 consumers shows Breach Clarity has the same appeal as free credit scores, and in particular with young adults. Let's replace one-size-fits-all security advice that consumers want no part of with a more profitable opportunity for digital engagement that also cuts losses. Let's talk about strengthening your return on investment and your customers' financial health. We'd love to talk with you about that. Thank you.
Excellent. Nicely done, gentlemen. So a couple quick questions for you. First off, obviously a lot has changed since your demo at Finovate Fall last year. Can you unpack that a little bit?
Since last year, we've built a product. We've added 3 clients, all in different related sectors. We've won the award at Finovate, the one from your judges, which we're so proud of. And we hope to win another award here today.
Cool. All right. So another question for you. What we saw today was clearly the customer-facing solution. Can FIs also use Breach Clarity's technology to manage fraud without the customer being involved?
Absolutely. So we're about to roll out 2 other solutions, enterprise solutions here in Q1. And the beauty of what we're building is that it's designed to be layered. And we've seen in our own data that when you get that customer or member using premium, and then you layer in our fraud tools on the enterprise side, there's a 35% predictive lift, right? So we're super excited to get these things out into the market.
Awesome. No, that's great. Okay, so last question for you. Looks like we have some time. You recently won the Finovate Award for the top emerging tech company, as we heard. But what's next? What's on the horizon for Breach Clarity?
We do have IP in 30 countries, and we've gotten some great interest from Canada, the UK. So I think after the new year, we get some hiring done. We might be making a trip north of the border and across the pond, right, to spread some Breach Clarity love.
Awesome. Well, that sounds great. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.